Alright fellas, I still don't think we're playing as well as we can, but we've made our way through the final. All we've got left is Western Suburbs, and we know we can beat these guys. We've done it so many times before. Let's get the job done, then we can reset before next season. We were good at the Club World Cup, we've been scratchy since then. Let's put out a good performance in the final and make it another perfect season trophy-wise.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 140 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and Kashmir Technical. I hope you're doing well and coming up today. It's the final episode of 2037 in game. We're going to take on Western Suburbs in the New Zealand National League Grand Final. So we're looking forward to that as well as the end of season review, transfer budget for next season, all that good sort of stuff. Then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday we were on all whites duty, made our way over to Africa to take on Senegal. You saw the highlights of that one, and also Tunisia. So if you missed that one, it included a bus trip that I'm pretty sure we did for the second time for some reason. Then I will leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Just played one game off the back of that episode, as you can see there over in the top right corner. Off the back of that 3-1 win over Tunisia, we played East Coast Bays in a game that had absolutely nothing riding on it because we'd already booked our spot in the final as had Western Suburbs, but thankfully picked up a 3-0 win, complete dominance, but yet again took us a fair while here to actually put these guys away. A first half goal there to Thiago Almada put us 1-0 up at halftime, and 2 goals in the last 15 minutes to Khaled and Almada completing a double did mean we picked up a 3-0 win. So we've gone through the National League Championship season with a perfect record. Western Suburbs, just the one loss, and that did come against us. They're the other team that made their way into the final. You can see the other teams and how they did. We definitely should have been beating East Coast Bays, considering they finished down in 9th Birkenhead with the rather embarrassing 0 points they got from that National League Championship in Auckland City. If you're wondering, they finished in 6th, kind of like the Senegal of New Zealand football at this point. Highly ranked for some reason, but not that good. But we're about to take on Western Suburbs here in the National League Championship Grand Final. We drew them earlier in the season in the first leg of a Champions League semi-final, but then we beat them up in Porirua. For some reason, they've got the home dressing room for this one, even though they finished second in the National League Championship. But to be fair, they probably won the race to the ground, considering they actually live in the general area of Sky Stadium, so maybe that's the reason they have the home dressing room. Otherwise, that's a bit weird. Hopefully not going to play too much of an impact in this game, as it sometimes can, even though this one is a neutral venue. But these guys have clearly been the second best team in New Zealand over the last couple of seasons. That's the reason we've been taking them on so much in the Champions League, and also deep usually in the stages of competitions like the National League and the Chatham Cup. Their recent form is very good, apart from that loss that they did suffer to us. No big names there in their team, but they're a handy squad. Ben Sapola, the American, a decent manager who does like to play his 4-3-3. Hopefully, though, we can pick up a good result here and deny them of yet another trophy in this save. And also, probably more importantly, this is indeed going to be the final game at the club for Thiago Almada, our big signing going into that Club World Cup earlier this year. He's done well for us, 15 appearances, 15 goals in the National League. I think that doesn't count what he did in the Champions League, albeit now I say that, don't actually think he was here for the Champions League, but it won't include stuff like the Chatham Cup as well. But this will be his last game for us before he does retire, the Argentinian somewhat legend, with his 5 caps at international level and 1 goal, but did help us make our way through to the second round of the Club World Cup, where we got beaten by Barcelona because we're Kashmir Technical. But hopefully we can send Thiago off here with a trophy in the National League. That will be his third one here since coming to Kashmir Technical alongside the Southern League and, of course, the Chatham Cup. And thankfully, no injury concerns or anything like that going into this big game. So let's get stuck straight into it, taking on Western Suburbs in the National League Grand Final. And here are the team sheets for this National League Grand Final. First up, the home team in the home dressing room, the locals in Western Suburbs. As we saw before, their manager does like a 4-3-3. In terms of us, Carly back at right wing, played him into some match fitness during that recent international window, and also that East Coast Bays game, and also a bit of a technical tweak. Going to try Zoomers as a poacher. It came up in the pre-match. Let's see if that helps us score a few more goals a bit earlier to actually put this team away, unlike we've been doing in our last couple of games. The early stages here, and there's a highlight from the kickoff. Western Suburbs holding onto the ball here pretty well. Hopefully they don't get a home boost here. It's a neutral stadium, but I did notice at the Club World Cup, the team that was the home one did often do quite well. I do think that's something in FM that's a little bit bugged out, but so far Western Suburbs are keeping the ball quite well here from this highlight. Now it's there Guanari who plays that one out there to Thomas, back to win. Then there for someone else, and they're doing really well here to keep hold of the ball, but eventually Clark does win that one off him, and now Greenwich does make his way forward. Nice ball in there for Thiago Almada, looking for a goal to complete his career. Unfortunately, decent save there from the fringe all white and Chronopolis in goal, but a chance here from a corner. Greenwich will put this one far post. Arce does get a header off, but unfortunately drained to the path of Chronopolis. A couple of early chances, but still 0-0. And going all the way forward now to the 34-minute mark, and we have got a bit of an orange injury here, so we're going to play things safe. Chris Greenwich was down to a bit of a deep red heart, so maybe Hotman de Villiers will come on for him. As you can see, next to nothing has happened off the back of those early chances we did create after pinching that ball off of Western Suburbs, who were briefly there in a bit of a Barca mode with their passing. But now there's a highlight here going far post for Arce. Good headed chance again, but that one just not quite on target. So it looks like that might do it for the highlights here in this first half. It's been okay. We're on the front foot, but just not scoring goals, which is a bit frustrating. Also, doesn't look like Zoomers is being suited to that poacher role. So instead, let's try and advance forward. This probably isn't the game to try this, but I do want to get our goal scoring sorted out for the Champions League next season, and not too sure how we can fix it. We should be doing better going more attacking, because we're definitely the best team in New Zealand based on pre-season odds, our record and all that sort of stuff. For some reason, at the moment, just struggling to put teams away, but that's the only change we're going to make going into the second half. It's still 0-0. And just shy of the hour mark, first highlight here of the second half. Hopefully might finally get a goal in this game, and it might be in our favour, but that's pretty poor clearance from Anderson. Thankfully, Carleta does get up in there, win that one, heads it down to Almada before Carleta will get it back. Starts to charge forward here down the right-hand side, but that's a poor pass when can cut it out. But thankfully, a deep ball there looking for Villarreal. Anderson steps up to claim it. Now to Hotman de Villiers will float this one into the mix, and Zoomers gets to it before Chronopolis. It's not really the goal I was expecting him to score, but he puts it away. 1-0 Kashmir Tech, and hopefully now we can kick on and put these guys away and lift yet another New Zealand National League title here at Kashmir Tech. I think this would make it 10 years in a row, considering that we've also won that many Chatham Cups, because of course we did lose in the first season this final to Auckland City, but that is the goal we were looking for the entirety of the first half. Thankfully, we've finally got it, and we are now 1-0 in front, albeit only a few minutes later. It is Western Suburbs here who are on the ball. Villarreal cuts inside, plays that one out to our right-hand side. For some reason, Khaled heads that one away to a Western Suburbs player, and then it goes in there for Guarnieri, who puts it away. Khaled, that was really poor from him. Did the complete opposite to what he did in that previous highlight. Hit it down quite nicely for Almada this time. For some reason, instead of looking there, that probably would have been for Debenham. Puts it out there to win, and that ball goes into the mix. To be fair, Guarnieri still had a fair bit of work to do to win that header, but he did. Beats Cifuentes. That's 1-1. Not too happy with that. Now Khaled has gone down to a red heart. So I think we're going to sub him off here for Gilbert, and Hotman de Villiers can go out to right wing. I think that's what we're going to do in terms of subs for now. We might, though, tell our guys to be a bit more expressive and just see if that might help us out with just over 20 minutes left. Albeit right off the back of that, there is a highlight in favour of the local lads in Western Suburbs. Nice ball over the top there. Thomas does get in behind somewhat. It's being marked tightly, though, by Debenham, but they pull that one back there, and now Wynn will try and square that. Thankfully, Gilbert gets in the way, albeit not too well. They play that forward for Guarnieri, and he was onside, which I didn't think was the case. All of a sudden, we had 2-1 down. And off the back of that, I think we might actually try the All Whites tactic, because it really isn't working for us here, this more attacking style that we've been playing lately at Kashmir Tech. So it does mean going to a standard defensive line. We're going to put Almada onto attack, de Villiers at right wing, onto support, and also Diop will take him off for Honey, and left back can go on to support as well, and also Sergio Arce, a ball-playing defender instead of a central defender. But quick fire double there from Western Suburbs, and we might not be picking up the National League here for the 10th season in a row there. Gilbert really should have got that ball back for us. Also actually need to chuck Zoomers onto a pressing forward instead of an advanced forward. Did score the goal earlier, but not too sure if he's done too much else. We're going to break the guys here because this is not going well. Just about 15 minutes left, and we're still at 2-1 behind. And a few minutes on from those changes that we did make off the back of that second goal to Western Suburbs, they might not be working though, because they've got a throw in here inside of the final third. Biro plays that one back to Silva. Thought their Zoomers might have a chance of getting that ball back for us. Unfortunately, not quite quick enough, and Western Suburbs are still on the attack. Thomas here down the left-hand side leaves the ball behind there, so Debenham can win that one back for us. Thiago Almada plays it back to Cifuentes at the moment. He won't get a trophy in his lone season here at Cashmere, at least in terms of a National League Championship, which would be a bit weird considering how dominant we've been in this competition. But Hotman de Villiers now on the attack, plays that one in there looking for Almada. He gets brought down by Silva, and a chance here surely for him now to put this away from the penalty spot and get this back to all square at 2-2. In fact, it's Zoomis for some reason taking this penalty. The goalkeeper might have got a touch on that, but thankfully Zoomis puts it away, gets himself on a hat-trick, even though he's been pretty streaky. But when he shows up, Ezra Zoomis does score goals, as can often be the case with our backup there in Juan Carlos Castro. But thankfully there, Chronopoulos kind of stayed down the middle, and he puts it away bottom right corner. Now we make our way the last 10 minutes of this game. This is a game that we definitely should be winning in regular time based on the stats, but for some reason we're just not quite as dominant as you'd expect us to be here at Cashmere. To be for Western Suburbs a bit better than all the other teams in New Zealand, but we are going to extra time in the National League final for 2037. Thankfully Ezra Zoomers put that penalty away, otherwise that would be a bad result in Thiago Almada's last game as a professional at Cashmere. Now a couple of players here down to red hearts. We've got an extra sub we can make. Can't take off Debenham because he's under 20, so instead we might here take off Louis Evans on a 6.4 and bring on our usual captain in Lorenzo Janssen. He can play as a deep line playmaker, Sam Clark, in that ball in midfield role, and hopefully that might just give us something extra in this extra time period. Thankfully, we've taken it there off the back of that late penalty through Ezra Zoomers to keep this one alive. And in a couple of minutes into extra time, an early free kick here in our favour. That one balloons up, and Ezra Zoomers gets on the end of it. He completes a hat-trick in this final. He's been pretty average of late, but he's been popping up in the camera games, and that completes a hat-trick. One goal back when playing as an advanced forward, one from the penalty spot, and that one, an absolute rocket from that free kick, which I think Debenham must have helped pop up there, and it fell onto his foot oh so beautifully, and we finally go in front for the first time since back around the hour mark through that goal, which he did score before that quick fire double to Western Suburbs, now at half-time and extra time, and we are 3-2 in front in this final. And just getting the second half here of extra time underway, did just adjust some opposition instructions there at half-time off the back of taking that 3-2 lead. Thankfully, that early goal there to Ezra Zoomers, albeit now might get a chance here to maybe make it 4-2 and put this game to better. Thrown inside the final third. Debenham there looking for Gilbert at the far post, but he's absolutely knackered as Debenham, as are quite a few players out there for us now. Also Clark and the retiring Almada, and actually Western Suburbs here might get a good chance on the counter-attack by nearly with a long-range effort, but thankfully a decent charge on him there to close down the space, and that one goes just wide of that top right corner. While we're here, going to slow down the tempo and start to time waste just a little bit as well to hopefully make sure that Western Suburbs can't find a way back in this game and take this one to a penalty shootout, because stats-wise, in particular XG, we should definitely have wrapped this one up in regular time, albeit goal kick for us there in Cifuentes. We don't quite link up with a teammate off the back of that. We eventually win it back, but not for too long, and now they play it out to Pico there down their right-hand side. Surely this is last chance saloon here for Western Suburbs. A big block in there, though, from one of our centre-backs. I think that might have been Tim Anderson, the former Western Suburbs man, down our left-hand side. Now Thomas puts that one into the mix, but thankfully he was offside as we creep our way into one added minute. And now, only about 20 more seconds left in this National League final. Western Suburbs have certainly given us a tough game, but I do think going to need to adjust our tactic again going into next season because the more attacking style that we've been using, just not quite paying dividends the way I thought it would in the season that we've tried it here at Kashmir Tech. We try and play a ball deep there for Zoomers, who is not going to reach it, but thankfully that just wasted enough time to make sure that we do hold on to our 3-2 advantage. Here's the Zoomers completing the hat-trick nice and early there in that first half of extra time off the back of a late penalty in regular time. He got the opening goal around the hour mark off the back of that Guarnieri, grabbed a double for Suburbs, which did put them in front and give them a chance there of a big upset, but thankfully we continue to just hold the advantage over the team from Porirua there in that final. It did take extra time, but thankfully we stepped up when it mattered. Even going to tell the guys that it wasn't the best performance, but thankfully doesn't matter too much as we lift the National League yet again. I think that now makes it apparently 9 titles here at Kashmir Tech. I thought it was 10, so maybe got the maths wrong there just a little bit, but yet again, the National League champions off the back of that 3-2 win over Western Suburbs. So another pretty average performance for us there at Kashmir Tech, but thankfully get the job done and lift all the trophies domestically possible here at Kashmir Tech this season, as well as the Champions League, as you'll no doubt see soon in the end of season review. Even there, Sapola actually saying they weren't that good today, Western Suburbs, so we'll keep a good relationship with our rival manager. For now, we get a good chunk of money, though, for those results that we have just picked up. So having a look at the finances, it's not quite in the positive, but very, very close, especially if we make a sale or two in the off-season. It'll be interesting to see if we get a decent transfer budget off the back of that big profit that we have made this season, at least in terms of New Zealand football, of about 1.5 million, but hopefully that might make sure that they can top up our wage budget, and next season we can try and stay under that as long as they don't reduce it halfway through yet again. But thankfully, just do enough there to pick up that win with Kashmir Tech Greenwich injured. Thankfully, just a tight buy. That's now 10 league titles indeed. To be fair, I think they already had one before we got here, so it is 10, but 9 of them I think have been won since we got here. So I think that's what's happened there in terms of the national leagues that we've won with Kashmir Tech, but that will make it 9 times in a row, and we're completely dominant here in New Zealand. Ezra Zoomers picks up a hat-trick and helps us pick up the National League yet again. And going for a few clicks off the back of those inbox items off the back of that win in the National League Grand Final, now we've got the Team of the Year here for the New Zealand National League, and as you can see, it's pretty well dominated by Kashmir Tech lads. We've got Sifuentes in goal, our entire back four, and it's also our usual starting back four for once, which is quite nice. Salkato at right wing, of course, was playing quite well before Carly did come back, and that's it. So actually, only 6 players there from Kashmir Tech in that starting lineup. Zoomers and Almada on the bench. You've got Cogman and Thomas there from Western Suburbs, Abdullah and Taylor from the Northern League champions in Manurewa, and Lozano up front from Nelson Suburbs. So to be fair, bit of a pretty good season up until the last couple of games of that National League Championship. And also, we do have the budgets for next season while we are here. And we have got a little bit of a boost up to £37,500 a week in terms of our wage. You'll see that shortly. It does mean now we are in the good in terms of that in our transfer budget, just under £42,000. Not too bad considering. So we do have a little bit of money to play with if we want to use it. To be fair, some of that might get moved over into the wage budget. Not that that's probably the best idea, but to be fair, Thiago Almada won't be at the club next year, so that's already a bit more that will get freed up there on that wage budget, seeing as he's being paid just under £3,000 a week. But you can see it's actually dropped down already to £31,600 for some reason, that transfer budget. But the wage budget, we've got 2.8k a week spare, but as I said, that should bulk out to closer to £6,000 once Thiago Almada does leave. So a bit of room there to potentially add some extra depth here to Kashmir Tech, maybe try and strengthen up the next time that we do go to a Club World Cup, and also more importantly for our tilt at next season's Champions League. And to finish things off for the 2037 season of this save, we've got the end of season review here at Kashmir Tech, the 4 trophies that we won, and also the Champions League, because as we know, that never shows up. The signing of the season is now retired. That's Thiago Almada, 24 games, 18 goals, 14 assists. He was pretty good, even though only one of those goals actually came from a free kick, which I thought he'd do a bit better from. Also, Hosafa and Ase came in as centre-back options and did a decent job, and a couple of extras that we did sign who didn't get a game, but some pretty good signings here this season. Obviously, Almada was a bit of a coup before the Club World Cup. They weren't too happy about the wage, the board. They gave it an E, but still, he picked up signing of the season, even though they actually rated the rest of these transfers better. But on-field performance-wise, Almada was the best. And here are the players that we did let go. Of course, start of the season, Diallo went off to the Phoenix. I say start of the season, I think that might have been off back of the Champions League last year, but off to the Phoenix, that works quite well for us with this being a New Zealand builder nation. Also, Mitchell Cloud for the Gold Coast Knights, he's been solid. Torik now to Auckland, he's now an option for the All Whites, and Kanate on a free. He departed, but also did gain New Zealand nationality before we let go of him. So to be fair, all those players we let go of, we did so at a pretty good time for the goal in the save. Going forward to the season results, in terms of the National League itself, we did not lose a single game or draw any, so it was a perfect season there, even though a couple of those games were a bit closer than I would have liked. As I said, going a bit more attacking, didn't feel like it paid off too often at Kashmir Tech this year, even though we did not lose a game. Good goal differential there in the Southern League. We absolutely waltzed that, but once we got to National League Championship, things did get a little bit tougher, but thankfully got the job done in that final. As you did just see, Champions League, we were pretty comfortable. Just that semi-final against Western Suburbs, as you'd expect, which was a bit tighter. A 2-0 win there in the second leg away from home was the key one. Chatham Cup, we won this pretty comfortably, helped out by the fact that both Auckland City and Western Suburbs, they got knocked out while we were over at the Club World Cup quite early. In the Charity Cup, we just got the job done there on penalties right at the start of the year. So Western Suburbs did test us this season, but we've just found a way to pick up all the trophies here in Oceania and in New Zealand yet again. Going forward, the moments to remember: the biggest win, a 6-0 win over AS Magenta, which is also where the goal of the season comes from Sam Clark. You'll see that shortly. And in between that, we've got the match to remember, which was apparently a 5-0 win against Christchurch United in the Southern League. You would have thought our Club World Cup winner might have outdone that, but apparently that's the match to remember. And now time for this goal of the season from Sam Clark. And it was the second goal here in the first leg of this Champions League quarter-final at My Arena. So it's a game that you guys would have seen early stages of the season. Sam Clark, the nice curving effort into the top right corner. To be fair, scored a pretty similar goal for the All Whites against Papua New Guinea in the second leg of our final World Cup qualifying. So he did score a couple of contenders for goal of the season this year, and he does get it with that one with Kashmir Tech, especially considering All Whites goals don't count. The goal of the season in the Kashmir Tech end of season review. Unfortunately, our club rep has not gone up yet. Maybe that will tick up a little bit once we hit the start of the new season off the back of the group stages of the Champions League next year, considering it did do quite decently at the Club World Cup. And that does also mean our competition prize money a little bit better than usual here at Kashmir Tech, and everything was quite good financially this year. Hopefully, we can actually get ourselves in a good position come the end of the next one, but that might be easier said than done without the benefits of a Club World Cup. And the top shirt sellers, Zuma's number one, followed by Sifuentes, as you'd expect once he arrived, Almada, Louis Evans, and despite the fact he played not much football for us this season, also Juan Carlos Castro going forward to the best 11. And this actually, for once, does make a ton of sense. That's pretty much the team that we put out for the most part this season. Salcedo over Khaled, because he was out for quite a while with an injury, in Almada over Janssen, because of course he's Thiago Almada and did very well once he did join the club. And we'll go forward now and see who picked up the Player of the Year, and it was Harrison Debenham with a 7.4 average rating. He also obviously picks up the Young Player of the Season, being only 19 years old. But Thiago Almada did have a better average rating of 7.8, and going down a bit further, Ezra Zuma's top goal scorer of 28. You got most assists there, Chris Greenidge with 17. Almada got the most man of the matches with 7. The most league appearances by a player and goals by a player now is Lorenzo Janssen with 156 and 84 respectively. He's probably going to get back in the first team next season once Almada does retire. In terms of awards, we, as you'd expect, to pick up the Manager of the Year yet again in competition awards. The Chatham Cup Golden Boot went to Castro, the Young Player of the Year in the National League Debenham, but the Player of the Year did go to Thiago Almada. So he picks up an individual award there in the National League before he does retire. Does the Argentinian. All good stuff for us here, as we won every trophy available apart from the Club World Cup, and going over to have a look at what has changed on the manager timeline. We pick up here from the start of 2037, a couple of free transfers that we did make, a new deal for Izrazumas back in March. We picked up the Champions League yet again, and the Southern League as well. Alex Paulson, now the most capped player for the All Whites, with 113, and that's probably grown since then off the back of that window that we did just play over in Africa going forward. And we won the Chatham Cup, Castro top goal scorer, another 2 free signings. Those ones came through our youth intake, and we won the National League and the individual awards that you did just see as we completed yet another unbeaten season in the National League. And also, let's just have a quick look at the overall best 11 for the save. Tim Anderson, he gets added to the squad, as does Zuma's Tuna and David Cifuentes. I think the only one of those, though, who makes their way into the first team is Tim Anderson at centre-backs. Not too many changes there. I think that will do it for today's episode. We win yet another National League title here at Kashmir Tech, and we are, of course, going to the Champions League next season. We no doubt will take on Western Suburbs in a big game yet again. If you enjoyed today's episode and 2037 of the Save, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow and get stuck in to 2038, starting off with the OFC Champions League. But obviously next season, the big deal is the World Cup for us, with the All Whites hopefully might be able to sneak our way into the top 30 before then have scheduled some friendlies in March against both Australia and Japan, just inside of that top 30 on the world ring. So it does mean an early season clash for the Soccer Ashes, but until tomorrow, but maybe some transfers as well as the start of the OFC Champions League. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.